Right, the feature race of the day on day three really is one of the most competitive Group Ones I can remember at Cheltenham. To be honest, I know it sounds daft that they're all great ones, but so therefore they all must be competitive by definition. But this one here, I think it's impossible really. But it's a great race nonetheless. I'm talking, of course, about the Stayers Hurdle, which is a 3 mile Grade 1 hurdle race. It's had some great winners over the past, Steve, hasn't it?
Yeah, you're right there. We've had some great champions over the past, including the likes of Big Buck, Singles Dreamer and Barracuda. I don't think we're going to see any horses in this year's renewal as such. The equality of those few I mentioned. However, it is a competitive renewal, and there's a good number of horses in the race that are going to fancy their chances. That's for sure.
Yes, I mean, it reminds me quite a lot of last year's race in a way, because there's a few runners last year. Similar, a lot of horses in there with similar profiles. I think a lot of them are either exposed in the race, either having been beaten in previous renewals of the race, or B, novices, second season novices, which was like Nichols Canyon was a second season novice last year when he won the race. So it's difficult really to know where to even begin to start in this race, where to look for the winner, isn't it? Really, because it really is a tough race.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that, and certainly I'd like to add to that I think another thing you've got to look at is a lot of these horses in the race are probably suspect stayers. If you go through the form line of quite a few of these horses, a lot of them look like they were certain to get the 2.5 mile trip, but maybe the extended 3 might just suss them out. They might just struggle to quite get up the hill. So it's tricky, really. But you certainly do need a horse that stays the trip in this race. Otherwise, there's going to be no way they're going to get up the hill. That's for sure.
I mean, that's a very good point you make there, because it is worth pointing out here that they are in fact racing on, even though it is Cheltenham Festival, they are in fact racing on a completely different course, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. Obviously, they use 2 days on the new course, and they use 2 days on the old course.
This course is a lot. Course is a lot more testing than the first course as well, in my opinion.
Yes, you're right. You're right there. Obviously, you've got new ground that they'll be running on, which obviously helps. But there's no doubt about it. You have to stay the trip in these stayers hurdles, and if you don't, you're not going to win the race. It's as simple as that. And there's quite a few of them in here that they're not going to quite see it out.
Okay, so sometimes it is better really to look at a race in reverse. So Steve, which ones of the more fancied runners have you literally ruled out as non-stayers then? Which ones do you think will struggle to get home tomorrow?
Well, regardless of their ability, the horses that I actually feel are possibly non-stayers are, for one, Hallstone would be one of those. I'm fairly adamant he's a 2.5 mile horse. He ran well last time.
And his form would back that up as well. He
just lacks that little bit of stamina.
One thing though I noticed about Hallstone is he likes the track. He's had 5 runs at Cheltenham in his life, and he's won 3 of them. So that must.
Yeah.
But I actually backed him last year in the 3 mile novice race, which was we touched on it in the preview for today's racing, where Monolith was second. So that's an indicator of the race's potential, because Monolith, despite not winning today, ran all right. An invitation only we talked about through Monolith as well. So it could be worth thinking that race could come to the forefront in this race, quite possibly. So with Hallstone being a non-stayer, he was 3rd in the race last year, and I must admit I thought he was a bit of a non-stayer as well that day.
Yeah, I'd certainly go along with that, Paul. Obviously, Hallstone, he does have some good form, and he's run some creditable races at Cheltenham, and he's backed up that he does run well there. However, I just have that feeling that he doesn't quite see the trip out, and that would be my concern with him. Regarding the other horses that I fear that might struggle to get the trip is the new one is certainly another one. He's obviously got form again over 2.5 miles, but 3 miles I'd have question marks over. Super Sunday is another one. He's got 2.5 mile form, and he's the horse that's definitely in form. However, I'd also worry about him getting the trip. So there's a few of them that I would definitely I would be concerned about regarding lasting the trip out. But they're obviously good horses in their own right. But you need to stay to win this race, and there's a couple of others in the race that I'd prefer over those ones I mentioned.
Yeah, because like you say, they need to get home in this race because there's so many runners. It's going to be. I'll be surprised if they crawl round in the first lap or so. So I think, like you say, that it'd be interesting to see what happens to some of them horses because I think them horses that you've just mentioned there will attract a lot of support tomorrow. The new one probably for sentimental reasons because he has got a following in racing. And I think a lot of people would like to see him do well tomorrow on the day. Super Sunday obviously beat Forheen last time out and won the Coral Cup at the festival last year. So that's a fair call, really, isn't it, to rule them three out? Really, isn't it? You're confident as well, aren't you, that none of them three will be in the frame, yeah?
Yeah, I am. And out of the three I have mentioned, I definitely have more concerns. About the new one would be the one I'd have the biggest concern with, and it probably Holstone would be probably the next one. But yeah, I do have concerns on all three. I'd be looking at a horse that's an absolute guaranteed stayer. It's going to be testing obviously again tomorrow, and there's no doubt about it. You do need to get every inch of that trip, otherwise you will not be winning.
As Nichols Canyon proved last year, really. I mean, he finished by far and away the strongest in the race, didn't he? And he really did seize the initiative of the race. The rest of them behind him ran good honest races. But this year, I think a good honest race might just be good enough to take this. Because Nichols Canyon, let's be honest, he was a good horse. He's 100 odd on the flat. He was a useful animal in his own right. And I don't think there's anything in there this year that is as good as he was. I don't think. What do you think?
No, obviously, Nick. If you look through last year's form, Nichols Canyon, he stepped up to the 3 mile trip for the first time in last year's renewal, and obviously he got it well. Going into that race, he did win. He was a multiple Grade 1 winner, so he obviously had, as well as having like good top Grade 1 form, did actually stay as well, and obviously he's related to a horse that's won the race before. So yeah, I don't think there's anything in this year's renewal that's quite got the same credentials as Nichols Canyon, that's for sure. But there's a couple of horses in there that will definitely get the trip. It's probably just whether they're quite good enough to win the race, but I'd certainly chance a couple of those. And
you best tell us what they are then, mate, before the old battery runs out again. On my laptop, battery's running out again quick, mate. So we best let's get some selections on the go then, mate. What do you fancy?
My selections for the Stayers Hurdle, I'm going to go with 2 of them. One of them is the improving Sam Spinner.
Yeah, I mean, that's from the small yard. I mean, I'm always a traditionalist when it comes to Cheltenham. I do like to see the small yards win, but I do think it's getting harder and harder for them to win the race. So I think it'll be a nice story if it wins. But do you honestly think it's good enough to win, mate?
Well, it's funny you ask that, because several months ago I looked at Sam Spinner and it wouldn't have been on my radar at all. But the closer the race is getting, and the more I look at it, I just think that Sam Spinner might be the horse, the young horse that's improving. It definitely gets the trip, and it's beaten several of these horses in the race already. So I think the horse.
Did it win the Cleve Hurdle? What won the Cleve Hurdle, mate? That's normally a fair place to start for this race, isn't it?
The Cleve Aguipar won the Cleve Hurdle.
Is that in the race tomorrow?
And obviously Holstone was second. No, I don't think it's in the race tomorrow.
Well, that's the horse that Nick Williams likes to send on mad missions to go French steeplechasing, isn't it?
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So really, you can chuck the Cleve Hurdle out the window this year if you think Holstone's not going to stay. Then you may as well forget the best trial then this year, in your opinion.
Yeah, obviously the Cleve Hurdle in recent years has been.
That's another great shout as well. You know, it's not a controversial thing to say, but that's how confident that people can be about their selection sometimes. And time will tell this time tomorrow whether you're correct, Steve, won't it? And that's part of the fun of racing, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It's at the end of the day, it's all down to opinions. You have to have your own view on it and go with what your own judgment's telling you. And on this occasion, Sam Spinner, I just think he'll stay the trip. He's an improver. My only concern with him would be he's a horse that seems to have a little bit of temperament about him. He seems to sweat down at the start before races, which would obviously be a little bit of a concern. But he's been visually very impressive this season, and he'd be my number one selection.
I was going to say, it'd be a lovely story as well if it did win, because the trainer's not been very well, has he? So it'd be a lovely story all round if Sam Spinner was to manage to do the job. So what's your set? So to clarify, Sam Spinner would be your best tentative selection. Would that be a fair assessment?
Yes, I'd say that's exactly how it is. I've not got like a strong opinion, but yeah, he'd be my number one tentative selection. Yes.
When you say tentative selection, it's worth clarifying that you have watched a lot of these races. You just don't think you know what the winner's going to be. It's not a tentative selection as that you haven't watched them. It's just you think it's more difficult to pick the winner. Would that be fair?
I think it's a trappy race. I don't think it's where I don't think there's an awful lot between the field really. I just think it's just the odd couple of pound, and therefore it wouldn't be like a confident selection. It'd be more like a hopeful one.
So basically, then what I was going to say is, if that was your hopeful selection, what would your optimistic selection be? You fancy maybe one to maybe run well, but you're even less sure than you were about the first one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'd go along with that. It would be last year's placed horse. You know what I mean, Harry.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, last year
he ran all right. Good honest horse, isn't he? He's a good honest horse.
Yeah, he's a good honest horse. He had a good campaign last year. He obviously turned up at Cheltenham a warm order favourite. He was obviously denied by Nichols Canyon, but he ran with credit in defeat. He then went to Punchestown at the end of the festival, where he actually reversed the form of Nichols Canyon. Since then, he's come out at the start of the season over 2.5 miles, and he beat Top Notch, a horse that's unfortunately not made it to Cheltenham this year due to a setback. But since then, you know what I mean, Harry, it's run a little bit disappointing in two outings. It was placed both times, but it didn't quite show the same spark that it had been showing last season. However, it's had a good break since Christmas time. I know the horse has been away to Ireland for a MOT, and the rumours are that the horse has been campaigned for this race in mind for the last few months, and they're hoping the softer ground can bring out the best in it tomorrow. Obviously, this is a horse that definitely stays well. He's with a stable that's has had Cheltenham winners in the past. So yeah, he'd be my second selection. Obviously, more hopeful than confident, but he has got previous form to suggest that he could run a big race.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth pointing out that really the trial for this race is on Friday afternoon as well, the novice race, the 3 mile novice race. So obviously the key would be to win this race and win the next race to stay. It's even easier this one as well, because both races are run on the same course. Normally they like to run the novice on one course and the grade 1 on the other, but this one they haven't done that. You know, so, and the Arkle was the same as well with that as well, just thinking about it. But so it's worth pointing out that, you know what I mean, Harry did win that race 2 years ago, the Brit. So, and he was solid run last year, solid run. He was a warm order for last year's race. Was he odds on the day last year?
Yeah, he was just a shade of odds on. Obviously, deservedly so on the day.
Yeah, because last year he did absolutely nothing wrong, did he? Last year, and he was just met by a quicker horse on the day, a horse with more class, obviously on the flat, Nichols Canyon, and a bit quicker. But you know what I mean, Harry's a solid horse, isn't he? In his own right. He's a safe option, isn't he, would you say?
Yep, he's a solid yardstick, and bear in mind that last year, where it was more like a even money 10 to 11 shot, you are actually getting 10 or 11 to 1. You know what I mean, Harry, this year. So it's not like
Are you back in the same horse though? Is the horse as good as it was?
In all honesty, he probably isn't quite the same horse he was. However, looking at it,
still 11 times the price, isn't it?
He's 11 times the price, and I even think the race might not quite be as strong as it was last year.
Fair comment again, sir. Fair comment. I mean, you can to be honest, you've got it down as a hopeful selection, but the more we talk about it, you're making a good case for him, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Like, obviously, he is hopeful because it's more like he hasn't quite shown the same form as last year. But on his best form, I'd have no doubt that he would be the horse to beat. But we just haven't quite seen it in his last couple of starts. But there's no saying that tomorrow, after a long break and with ground that's probably in his favour, that there's no reason why he can't run a big race.
Well, no, absolutely not. I mean, I agree with you. I think that it's a solid horse, and if it is a weak race, he's more than capable of getting involved in the finish, without a doubt. Definitely. Last year there was so much confidence behind him. All through the season he was winning all the races. But this year, I don't know whether it's just that the horse racing may have caught up with him, or this year he's more of a target. People know what he can do this year, whereas last year he may have caught a few by surprise, I guess, coming up from the novice division. But what about this Pen Hill? I mean, to be honest, I always look at two races for this race, the winner of the Cleve and the winner of the Brit. Normally it's the same horse, isn't it? But this year, you see, this year it just hasn't happened in the Cleve for some reason. Normally you will see, like I remember when Blackjack Ketchum won the Brit, he went for the Cleve the next year. It's just a logical thing to do for a second season chaser, second season hurdler. I was going for the World Hurdle. It's basic planning. But this year, I don't know, so we go back to the Brit Hurdle, and this leaves me with Pen Hill. And I remember the Brit Hurdle last year. It looks impressive on the day when it won, and it hasn't had a run this year yet. I mean, what's been going on with that one? What chance do you give that tomorrow, sir?
Yeah, well, as you say, you're right. It won the Albert Bartlett very impressively last year.
Is that what it's called these days? Another one there with Newman famously calling the race by its wrong title.
That's correct. It used to be called the Brit Insurance.
Yeah, it always will be to me.
It always will be. But yeah, obviously, officially they've changed the name of it to the Albert Bartlett. But however, as you say, it was impressive in the race last year, and it obviously had Holstone behind it. But yeah, obviously it's not had a run yet this season. That must be down to a setback. That kind of goes back to what
you said on the first day. I wouldn't fancy winning a Grade 1 first time out. So obviously, would you apply that thinking to Pen Hill as well? Obviously, wouldn't you? You would.
Yeah, I think I actually mentioned it about Duvan, saying it's hard enough to win any race at the Cheltenham Festival, alone a Grade 1.
Do you feel that Pen Hill, obviously, with him not having a run this year, is a massive disadvantage? Obviously, they've not just kept him away because of the weather. For a sprint campaign, they're going to run him at Cheltenham, Aintree, and Punchestown really quickly. And what they thought was better ground, maybe? Because that, to me, looks the one that could improve past all these, if any of them. I'm just on natural progression of being a novice and then winning the natural World Hurdle the year after. It just seems to me, I can't believe. Are you aware of it having any setbacks or anything? Why has it not run it? Have you heard anything?
Yeah, I heard earlier in the season that it had a setback, so they decided that they were going to wait until the festival and just try and have a clear run through with it and run it fresh. Obviously, it's never ideal when they go straight to the festival without a run. That obviously, the horses are different. Some horses quite take as much work to get fit. Obviously, we know Quavega from the Willie Mullins yard used to go straight to the festival without a run. And she was successful over and over doing it. But just in general terms, it's very difficult to go to Cheltenham without a run and win any race, alone a Grade 1. But yeah, I think it was a setback that's obviously changed their plans. But obviously the vibes are that the horse has been working well at home, and it's another horse. You couldn't rule it out. And that is a horse that was also guaranteed to stay the trip. Obviously, it's won the novice last year over 3 miles, so I wouldn't put anybody off Pen Hill, but obviously your only concern would be it hasn't had a run, and what do you expect really for what is the horse going to produce first time out? That's the big question mark. But yeah, they seem confident that it's going to run well, and obviously the stable know how to get horses ready at home without a run. So yeah, you're taking a chance, but again, it's a big price, and it's tough. I wouldn't like to put anybody off, but at the same time, I wouldn't be overconfident either.
That's fair comment. Fair comment. I mean, me personally, I think, to be honest, I was quite taken with how it won the Brit last year, and yeah, it's quickened away, didn't it? And I think if it all goes to plan for them tomorrow, they could have a massive couple of months with that horse, with them 3 races I've just mentioned. That the Aintree Hurdle, got the races at Punchestown as well. I mean, it is one thing it has got in its favour against some of these other horses is it's not as exposed, is it, as some of the others?
No, as you say, it's not as exposed as the others. It's lightly raced, and obviously, as long as tomorrow's race doesn't leave its mark on the horse, it's got Aintree or Punchestown or any of those festivals.
It could quite easily do all 3, in my opinion. He might even send it over to France. He likes to send some over to France, doesn't he, at the end of the season as well? Some hurdlers, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. There's always the option of going to France at the end of the season.
So I think that's an interesting runner, and I'm going to make that my extremely tentative selection for the race, I think, because just based on the fact that I just feel that there's something in that race for him if he's ready to go, and I think the race is not the strongest. It's a race that normally I'll just back the Wiley horse in and it wins. I've done that probably 4 times. three times with English Dreamer and 1 time with Nichols Canyon. So I'm struggling a bit. I'm struggling a bit this year, to be honest, because I'm in new territory where I've actually got to look at the race. So I'm going to make a very tentative selection, an extremely tentative selection, really, on Pen Hill, because I just think that you've not put me off it, but then again you've not put me on it. So I'm just going to go with what I saw last year and think my initial choice I had Pen Hill and Holstein written down, but I know what you mean about Holstein, really, to be honest. It's only the course record that made me think that it had a chance. You've not put me off it, but I know deep down, really, it probably won't stay. Old Jacob will ride it with bags of confidence when he double handful probably come in there, so you think he's got loads, and then it'll probably just go out a bit. So yeah, I'm going to make Pen Hill my tentative selection, but like I said, your tentative selections as well, I can see where you're coming from on yours, so if anything, it's probably a race just to watch, I think, really, or have a very small tentative selection of your own. Would you say that was fair?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. Obviously, I don't think there's any superstars in there, as mentioned previously. So yeah, it is a wide open renewal, and yeah, I wouldn't put anybody off anything in the race really, but I would my main point would be just to make sure that you're looking at a horse that will stay the trip most of all.
And that's been well emphasised. So let's wait till tomorrow and let's see how important that is. And then who knows? We've had Faheen not win. We've had others not win. We might have had 3 non-stayers there, and you never know your luck, do you? Really, I've always said that it's not really the horses you lose. It's the winners you don't back. It's the losers you do bet. And if people can eliminate the losers, that's as good as a winner, isn't it? Really. If you just walk away and not have a bet instead of losing, that's a good result, isn't it? If you've not got an opinion, you're better off not having a bet than you are guessing, aren't you?
Of course you are. You can save yourself, obviously, a lot of money by doing that. And sometimes you need to eliminate the horses you don't feel can win before you back the ones that you do feel will win.
Absolutely. I mean, that's obviously clear. Right, so that's the Stayers Hurdle for you. Good luck, everybody, tomorrow.
And they're off for an intriguing and deep Sunbet Stayers hurdle. And Sam Spinner sets off in front from Donna's Diamond. Little Rockefeller on the inside of the white-capped Yanworth. Then the new one settling in 5th place. Super Sundays on the outside, green and yellow jacket, red cap worn by Robbie Power. On the inside, You Know What I Mean, Harry, as they jump flight number 1, followed then by Bacardi's and Holstone. And then the World's End towards the outside, Augusta Kate also to the outside in a dark green jacket, held up towards the back, Penn Hill, alongside Colin's Sister, Let's Dance, and finally Lammy Surge in the green colours, and the hood is the back marker. On now to flight number 3, and it's Sam Spinner and Joe Colliver out in front, the long walk winner at Ascot. Sam Spinner jumping well from Donna's Diamond in second, Little Rockefeller on the inside, Yanworth is handy, then the new one, You Know What I Mean, Harry, up the inside, the green and yellow hoops with the green cap worn by Noel Feely. Then Super Sunday on the outside, Bacardi's in the stars on the inside, of Holstone in a white cap, Augusta Kate is wider, pink jacketed Let's Dance from Colin's Sister and the World's End, Penn Hill towards the rear of the field along with the weighted with Lammy Surge. Approaching flight number 4, Sam Spinner, and a length and a half, 2 lengths ahead of Donna's Diamond as they race to the top of the hill for the first time. Sam Spinner from Donna's Diamond. Yanworth and Little Rockefeller sharing 3rd position. The new one back in 5th place, followed on the inside by You Know What I Mean, Harry, then Super Sunday, Holstone, Bacardi's, Augusta Kate, then the World's End on the outside of Let's Dance, followed by Colin's Sister, Penn Hill, Lammy Surge. Running on now downhill towards the 5th flight of the 12 they have to take on this first circuit of the Sunbet Stayers hurdle. And out in front is still Sam Spinner in the orange colours from Donna's Diamond. Yanworth close up on the outside, travels strongly. Little Rockefeller on his inside. In the centre of those is the new one. Then Super Sunday out wide. You Know What I Mean, Harry back on the inside as they jump the next. Pretty solid jumping all round there. Penn Hill to the outside at the back in the blue and white jacket, the outside of Lammy Surge as they run towards the home turn. And in another circuit time, this is where the race will really be on as they make the long run to the final flight. Sam Spinner from Donna's Diamond. Yanworth, Little Rockefeller. Then the new one, You Know What I Mean, Harry, Super Sunday, Holstone, Bacardi's, Augusta Kate on the outside. Then Colin's Sister, Let's Dance, the World's End, Penn Hill, and Lammy Surge. On to the flight in front of the stand. It'll be the last one next time round. It's not a mad gallop here being set by Sam Spinner. Going to it, Sam Spinner by a couple of lengths. Had a little bit of a look at it, got in a bit tight. Donna's Diamond almost alongside on landing as they race in front of the enclosures. Sam Spinner from Donna's Diamond. Yanworth is 3rd and then Little Rockefeller in 4th. The new one remains in 5th on the outside of You Know What I Mean, Harry, followed by Super Sunday on the outside of Holstow. Bacardi's back on the inner from Augusta Kate, Colin's Sister. Then the World's End, Let's Dance, and the last 2, Lammy Surge, and finally Penn Hill. Into the back straight, they completed a circuit of the course. On now to flight 7, 8 and 9 down the back straight. And the order pretty much unchanged for a while. Sam Spinner by a half length to Donna's Diamond. Yanworth poised on the outside. Little Rockefeller close up. Super Sunday maybe just closing a little out wide then of the new one. Then You Know What I Mean, Harry. Holstone is next. Lots in close company here. Augusta Kate, Bacardi's. The World's End, Penn Hill to the outside. Approaching the next flight. Sam Spinner comes in to take it. Not quite so fluent as Donna's Diamond on his outside. Little Rockefeller and Yanworth disputing 3rd. Then the new one, Super Sunday. They're queuing up behind. You Know What I Mean, Harry. Holstone at the next again. Sam Spinner was a bit sticky, and Let's Dance is the faller there. Let's Dance, the mare, takes a fall, and Danny Mullins was on the deck. Now racing left-handed and going up the hill. Sam Spinner just beginning to try and turn the tap on a little bit possibly here, but lots in within 6-7 lengths of the lead. Donna's Diamond 2nd, Little Rockefeller on the inside. Yanworth, the new one, You Know What I Mean, Harry. Then Super Sunday as they approach the 3rd last flight of hurdles, a long way from the finish. This time Sam Spinner coming up well. Sam Spinner from Donna's Diamond. Yanworth in third. Little Rockefeller on the inside. Then from the new one, You Know What I Mean, Harry towards the inside with a lot of cover still from Super Sunday. The World's End, Holstone just jockeying for a bit of position. Then Penhill closing up now. Lammy Surge, Augusta Cape, Bacardi's round the inside, and Colin's Sister about to run on downhill towards the second last flight of hurdles. And Sam Spinner, the Northern Raider, Joe Colliver in the saddle, has made it all so far, but any number of potential challengers. Donna's Diamond, Yanworth in the White Cat, working out to Super Sunday, the World's End, Penhill on the move, back on the inside Little Rockefeller, and then in behind them the new one. This is the second last, Sam Spinner, Donna's Diamond, followed by Yanworth, Super Sunday looking dangerous, the new one has a chance, then Little Rockefeller, out wide the World's End and Penhill as they round the final turn, and it's still Sam Spinner, but there's a host of challengers. Here comes Super Sunday, Penhill, the World's End, Yanworth, and then behind these the new one, and on the far side Little Rockefeller, and they're followed by You Know What I Mean, Harry, and Lammy Surge on the outside, a charge for the final flight, and Penhill has come through to take over from Super Sunday, then Yanworth, Lammy Surge delivering a run on the stands rail as they head to the last. Sam Spinner trying to rally, Bacardi's runs on at the last, Super Sunday and Penhill in the air together. Bacardi's is down, is Penhill on the near side of Super Sunday. These two locked together as they race up the hill, and Penhill, last year's Albert Bartlett winner, is beginning to do best, and Penhill sees it out strongly to win the Stayers Hurdle. Super Sunday second, third was Holstone running on ahead of Colin's Sister and Sam Spinner.
You can talk all you want about horses you've fancied for the Cheltenham for weeks, but unless they're trained by Gordon Elliott or Willie Mullins, you better think again. It's 6 now to Mullins, playing Elliott's 5 as Penhill, the winner of last year's Albert Bartlett, wins on his seasonal debut. A remarkable performance, a remarkable training performance. His stable companion Bacardi's was the faller at the last when he might have been involved for a place. He's up on his feet okay. Other stable companion Let's Dance fell. She got to her feet okay. But it is Penhill that has won the Sunbets Stayers Hurdle. Super Sunday's run a terrific race, and over on the far side of the track, Sam Spinner was battling it out with Yanworth away from the action. It turned into a bit of a dash, this race, and possibly wasn't run at a really brisk, even pace. But Penhill it is, and Willie Mullins has produced some wonderful training performances this week, but in the colours of renowned gambler Tony Bloom, this might be the best one of the lot.
Well, they were stacked up on the home turn. Paul Townend stayed wide, he stayed out of trouble, he's made his ground up very, very easily, and he stayed on strongly. Some training performance this, to get a horse back from a year off to win again at the Cheltenham Festival. We say it time and again about Willie Mullins, but I don't think he'll better this in terms of a training performance for the week.
Holstone it is, in fact, that has come home for third in the end at 14-1. Penhill and Super Sunday, an Irish 1-2 done.